Welcome back. You're watching AIM Agenda. Joining me now is Independent MP Dai Le and Labor member for Robertson, Gordon Reid. Great to see you both. You're in Canberra, first sitting week back. I know it's a fevered environment there at the moment, but let's start on the breaking news this morning, and this is the beef biosecurity laws that have been relaxed. So we might see more American beef here in Australia. Dai Le, first of all, I mean, this is not directly related to your constituents. It goes to the greater economy. What do you think about this? Is this a good move? I mean, Don Farrell was just on the program denying that it had any link whatsoever to getting a trade deal done. I'm not sure I believe that.
Well, Look, I think I'll leave the Minister for Trade to talk about the whole trade deal impact. But for me, we actually have eat a lot of beef fur, which
yeah,
is beef noodle soup, really relies on beef.
Delicious.
Yeah, very delicious, that's right. But I think the issue here for me is the requirements. My understanding is the requirements for local beef producers to really, adhere to stringent rules and regulations. And so therefore, by us lifting this US restriction, what would that mean for our local employment and our local beef manufacturing businesses? So that's going to have I think it's going to have an impact. So that's, will cause a lot of grief, I think, for our local producers more than anything else.
Gordon?
Well, look, there's 2 points that I'd make on the change to the beef trade between the US and Australia. The first is that, and as the Minister said, this has been a review that has been undertaken for almost a decade. It's been a significant period of time where the United States and Australia have been discussing beef trade, as Minister Don Farrell said.
Suspicious timing,
I'll
though.
make 2 points. I don't think so. But look,
okay, so the Americans raised this as a bit of a problem, just on the periphery, saying, oh, look, we accept all of Australia's beef. I think it was Scott Besant that actually said it, but we don't send hardly any beef to Australia. And then all of a sudden, a 10-year review, and when they're in the midst of, we want a trade deal, suddenly it's relaxed. Come on, Gordon. Do you really believe that?
No, look. There's 2 points that I'll make with regards to beef. The first is that the United States is going to have to comply with strict biosecurity laws that are set forward by the Australian government, and also too that's held with the Department of Agriculture here in Australia. And that really includes the enforcement of traceability. Where is that cattle coming from when it is coming from the United States to Australia? That's the first point I make. And the second point I'll make is to make sure that domestically our farmers aren't negatively impacted by this decision that's been made to bring American beef here into Australia. And that really comes back to the biosecurity laws, making sure that our Australian farmers are protected from any diseases that may be coming into Australia. And that is why we have these strict laws in place.
Oh, I hope that's the case, Gordon. I really hope that's what's happening, because I think lifting the restrictions meant that we would have to give up something in order to lift the restrictions, because otherwise, why wouldn't you allow for the US beef to come? So I would challenge that it will not impact our local manufacturing.
It can't have no impact, can it, Gordon? Look, I mean, it can't have no impact. How can it be good that we've got exported beef? I mean, that can't be good for our cattle farmers. Can it?
Well, look, and again, we go back to the biosecurity issue here, and that is one of the main things that would be protecting our farmers in our domestic market, making sure that Australian cattle is safe for our domestic market. And, the Department of Agriculture here in Australia is responsible for both the setup and enforcement of those biosecurity laws, and also to the United States Department of Agriculture now has in place strict traceability requirements to see where that cattle is coming from when it is made ready for consumption and for sale. So our domestic market will be protected based on this 10-year review, and also the discussions had between the Minister for Trade, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and the United States government.
Yeah, look, I've got to say, it wasn't clear from speaking to Don Farrell exactly what was required there and what traceability requirements were made. I still maintain that this is extraordinarily extraordinarily convenient timing. But I quickly want to ask you about one other thing that's related to the debate that's going in the coalition about net zero at the moment. I think it's really notable this morning that Fortescue has dropped all green hydrogen ambition. We know that Andrew Forrest was really keen on making this technology work, but it is certainly, it's been dumped, I would say, but at the very least been put on the back burner. What does this say, Gordon Reid, about, I mean, a couple of budgets have put money in there to incentivise green hydrogen production and actually get up to a speed where it has a commercial viability. But this really tells us that renewable energy, when it comes to stability in the grid and that backup plan, it's really not there, and it could be, decades away. What does it say about your plan for renewables?
Look, what I'd say, and based on the most recent results of the 2025 election, talking to constituents, talking to voters on our pre-poll line, is that people were voting with climate change in mind and with renewable energy in mind. We have a community battery in Narara. We have significant investment into solar, into wind, into hydro, into all forms of renewable energy. And I think there's a few points I want to make, and I take a bit of a different angle when it comes to renewable energy infrastructure. Yes, there's the climate component. Yes, there's the environmental impacts that are beneficial when it comes to renewable energy. But this is an energy sovereignty discussion as well. This is about decentralising the grid. It's making sure that we're not reliant on only one form of energy for both domestic energy production and also, too, for energy export. Only good things can come from the investment into renewable energy, but also, too, it means from a national security and strategic standpoint, we're not reliant on only one form of energy, whether it be coal, whether it be gas, solar, wind, hydro. I think it's only a good thing for our domestic market, but also too our export market, that we have multiple energy sources, including one which is the cheapest and most reliable form of energy, being wind, solar, hydro and renewable energy.
It's not right now. Certainly not green hydrogen. It might be in the future, but it's certainly not the cheapest or most reliable right now.
Yeah, I think green hydrogen, I have been told, is very, very expensive. But can I just address Gordon's point in terms of the election? It's not. I don't believe the election result is about is a climate change election. I think the election is about better the devil you know than the devil you don't.
But do you really think the jury's out on climate change in terms of inner city seats like yours?
I think
so the young people in my electorate were concerned about climate change, renewable energy. They wanted to see it roll out on quite a large scale.
Yeah. Well, my electorate is actually about cost of living predominantly, so it's not such a major issue. But energy bills is obviously a critical issue for every single household in the country. It's gone up. Our energy bills have gone up. Our insurance costs have gone up. Our cost of living has gone up. Grocery prices have gone up. Everything has gone up. So I think for a lot of people, how do we find some kind of stability of pricing for energy? That is so important. And I think I agree with Gordon that, of course, one of the cheapest, energy is solar. And, of course, it's great that the government has, offer these home batteries rebate. But then again, that's for those who can afford, and I have been saying this, afford to buy a battery and to have a solar system. But for the majority of working Australians and for the mums and dads in Western Sydney and in particular in my electorate of Fowler, people can't afford to have solar panels or a battery. So they still be using the grid. So that is going to be very expensive for a lot of families.
And yeah, you're right. And that's why we did provide targeted cost of living relief when it came to energy bill relief. But also, too, that's why the community battery program was put in place. We have one in Narara. It's people, whether they have solar or not, feeding into that battery and then reducing energy costs in peak times, but also, too, reducing emissions. That's the whole point between both the community battery side of things and then also to the home battery discount that we've put forward.
OK, Gordon, Dai, we are well out of time, but that was great. Great to have a debate.